please stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good evening. Today is September 2nd. This is the Environmental Conservation Board. We have an agenda that we're going to follow, and the first one, and the only one on the agenda today, is G&F subdivision, Gateway and the Fairways, 2054 Route 6 Carmel. Disturbance associated with grading and stormwater management and associated activities. Please state your name and who you're here to represent.
Dawn Lewis McKenzie, registered landscape architect from Insight Engineering, Surveying and Landscape Architecture. With me tonight is Mr. Paul Camarda. He is the applicant for the project, and we're here for the G&F subdivision road, Gateway Summit, the Fairways projects.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So the last time you were here, we had gone through the application. We had made some, we'd gone through it. We have your DEP for your SWIP. Your SWIP is approved until August of 22. And there were some other items that we had to have addressed.
Okay. So if you'd like, I can go through what we've done from the
Yeah, you
last
want?
submission.
Please.
Is that okay? All right.
Perfect.
So just to give you a general overview of what the board asked us to do and what we did. So first, you asked us to provide the Town of Carmel wetland signs, any place within the wetland buffer that we were putting the trailblazers. So we have provided that on the site plan.
Okay.
And what we did was we identified it, we added it to the labels for those signs on the plans, and we also included it on the details that were provided for how those signs were to be installed.
Perfect.
So did that in two places, and that shows up on the Gateway plans, Gateway Summit plans, and the Fairways. Okay. The other thing that you asked us about was you asked us to take another look at doing tree plantings as mitigation. And, you know, and we talked about this before, and we did take another hard look to see if we could find some place where we could plant more trees to provide meaningful mitigation. And really, there aren't opportunities for that. The developed areas of the site are going to be fully landscaped, and then and the areas below that are densely forested. You know, I don't know if any of the board members got a chance to go out there, or if you golf at the golf course across the way and you look across the hillside, it's wooded. And below the developed area, it's going to continue to be densely forested, including the area of the wetland buffer where the trails are going to go that are subject of the permit.
We asked for you to look at it, so.
Yep, and so, you know, one of the things that we had talked about with the applicant that we thought would provide some sort of meaningful mitigation is, and it's included on the 11 by 17 diagrams we included in your packet. They're the MA drawings. So if you look at the sketch number MA3, it shows a green area with a label. That's the portion of the trail, that's the gravel trail that's being installed.
Which one, the MA1?
On MA3?
Three.
Right. So that's the portion of the trail that's going to be the gravel trail that's provided with a little bit more disturbance and more tree removal because it's required for emergency access to be developed to that level.
Okay.
And we had talked about that before at the previous meetings. So what we're offering is to put together an invasive species removal plan for that area within the green outline on that diagram. And I wrote down, I believe
Any area within the green area.
Yeah, the area within the green area. And so, and that actually is 2.1 acres associated with that. And it would be a 3-year maintenance plan. If that's acceptable to the board, we can put together that plan for your review.
What are the invasive species?
So Some of the things that I saw when I walked through the woods, there's, we'll have a wetland consultant go out there and put together a plan, identify what species will be removed in that area, and it'll all be part of his plan. Some of the things I saw were Euonymus elatus, the winged Euonymus burning bush. There's some barberry out there. It's shaded, so it's more of the shade species, but I saw those, and trying to remember what else I didn't make a list, but there is opportunity for invasive species removal in that area. And it would be done over a 3-year period.
Okay.
So,
And you have a detail on the signs, or are they just in the large drawings? You have it on that sheet?
I can show you where they are, the signs?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Grab the mic. Is it on? Hello? Hi. So, typically, what I've been showing you is we have a separate plan set that we put together for DEC, and it shows the entire trail system on one plan set as opposed to Gateway's trail portion on one set and Fairway's trail portion on the other. So this is the one I refer to the most, but all of the details, everything is the same on these plans as it is on the other plans.
And the signs, at what interval are they going to be installed? 50 foot, 100 foot?
So I'll grab my scale and scale off of here how far apart they are. We did try and put them at even intervals, but anywhere we have them in the wetland buffer. So starting here, on this plan, the trail's highlighted in green, the buffer's highlighted in orange. So, there's a trail blaze and a wetland sign in these locations as you make your way along. And everyone that's inside the buffer, actually that's a trail sign, sorry, inside the buffer, has one of the wetland signs added.
Again, I'd just like to know the spacing. Are we
Okay.
100 foot, 200 foot, a mile?
It's not a mile, and it's not 100 foot. It's actually more than that. I brought my scale. Just give me a sec. That part I don't recall. Let's take a look. And if I recollect, I think they were all done at even intervals, so, but I'm not sure. I'd have to verify that. So we're looking at, yeah, it looks like 500 feet. They're every 500 feet. And that's at the edge of the wetland buffer. And then you also asked us to provide them along the wetland itself, where the sitting area for the pergola is,
Right.
and at the sitting area where the boat dock is, and the fishing dock. So back to the details. And all of these plans are included in your packet. All right. So there's two details provided as part of the site plan set, both for Gateway Summit site plans and for the fairways. And like I said, these are the same exact details, just on this trail plan set. So we have two different instances. There may be a blaze that's attached to a tree. So if there's a trail blaze attached to a tree, there's also going to be a Town of Carmel wetland sign on the locations that are within the wetland buffer. And then in other locations where there's not a tree and the trail goes, hits that interval, we've got a post. So there's going to be a wood post in the ground, and if there's a trail blaze there, there's going to be a wetland sign.
Okay, and then there was also something about the updated flagging. We wanted the Gateway project, so we'd have to have that included in the file, the update wetland flagging.
It's on the site plans.
It's updated as of?
DEC came out and re-verified the wetland in 2019. Then we had a wetland consultant come, and what he did was he reviewed the town portion of it that DEC didn't review, and he did that earlier this year. It was April or May. I believe it was
Okay.
May, and that's actually updated on the site
updated
plan.
one is on the site plan?
Correct.
Okay.
So both of them have current validations, right?
Okay, and then the only other thing is that we said that before cutting trees down, you would mark them before you cut them. The surveyors would mark the trees that you were gonna cut down.
Okay,
In
you want us to
advance
put
of-
ribbons on that in the field?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, and then the last thing is the maintenance bond. You know, we'd like at least a 5-year maintenance bond on the trail, because it's gotta be, you know, it's gravel, invasive species, you know, we don't want, you know, after a night like last night, I'm sure, with the pitch of the slope of the area over there, you know, we don't wanna lose it, so, you know, I don't think we're asking for anything a little excessive here, so I'd like at least a 5-year maintenance bond on this.
so some things I'd like to point out, you know, and I believe we identified them in the letter. The town has mechanisms in place already to incentivize applicants, you know, property owners to maintain their improvements within the wetland. So if that thing eroded and was a problem, they could get a wetland violation for that. So that's number one, right? Number two, you know, this is something that can be done by the code enforcement officer. Also, if they let that driveway fail and it's no longer usable, that's a violation of their site plan approval, because that is required, you know, it's an amenity that's provided as part of the site plan approval. So those are a couple things.
Sounds all well and good, but I'm a firm believer in insurance, so I'd like to have an estimate for the file so we can establish a maintenance bond for this for the 5-year period.
Okay, so also there's going to be a homeowners association who's
Again,
required to
I want-
maintain
there's a
this.
well, then you can transfer the bond to them, or whatever you want to do, but I want to make sure that this walking trail and everything there is maintained. Unless you want, we could go for 10-year.
Mr. Camardas is here, he'd like to speak with you about that.
Could you please identify yourself, sir?
My name is Paul Camarda. I've owned the property for 20 years. I've been developing in the town of Carmel for 34 years. And these trails will be looked at by, as Dawn pointed out, by the town inspector for the town. We have a site plan bond. We're going to have constant inspections during construction. But put all that aside. The real practical matter is, eventually there's going to be 300 residences there who are going to pay homeowners fees. And they're going to want to walk those trails. And they're not going to let them get rotted out, or run out, and deteriorate, because they're an amenity they're paying for. So I think what you're asking for, I understand the point of it, but we've already have a half a dozen people looking.
How
But the-
long do you think you're going to take to fill those residents up?
I'll be dead and gone.
Okay, but I hopefully will not be. So
Okay.
I'm just saying,
Well, if we're still
how many, you
alive.
don't think you're gonna fill up 300,
Let me-
300, you're not gonna fill up 300 residences in a year. It's gonna be over a period, a span. So by the time the HOA gets established, that they start having some real money come in to that development, it could be 5 years. Just throwing a number out there. So all I'm looking for is a bond, a maintenance bond on this trail for a 5-year period, which now guarantees that if I'm off the board next year or whatever, we know it's covered for 5 years. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay, I understand what you're looking for. I've owned the property for 20 years. There's never been a house built there. There's never been a person living there. I don't know when the construction will start. When are you looking to place this bond on the property?
Upon completion of the work.
Excuse me?
Upon completion of the work.
I don't understand.
Upon completion of your work.
Upon completion of
Right,
my,
when you finish the last home, you get your CO on the last house, bond starts.
so you want to place the bond, I'm sorry for saying you as the chairman are requesting that a bond be placed on these trails to make sure that they're maintained properly after the last house is sold.
Or if you want to do it during halfway through the sale,
No.
you can do whatever you want.
I don't want to
I
do
can-
it,
whatever
honestly.
you- I'm trying to work with you, you know? You want to do, if you want, as soon as you get, half the construction done, or all the construction's done, you tell me. But I want a 5-year maintenance bond.
And what is a number that you think is a fair number? to-
Whatever you estimate per year for maintenance on this thing, we will submit it to the town engineer. He will review the number. He will run it through the supercomputer and come up with a number that is fair for you to bond. So if you have to put, just let's say, for example, you have to put a $100,000 bond down, just throwing numbers out there, the bond's only gonna cost you maybe 12 grand if you have to go through a bonding company. I mean, I've been around the block a few times.
So have I.
So,
Okay.
So I'm just saying, it's a guarantee that development, this town, maintains a walking path that we want, that's going through the wetland buffer to the wetlands, is maintained for a period of 5 years. Once that development gets up there and has an HOA association that now is solvent, because the first couple of years, they're not gonna be solvent, right? Because they're gonna be starting to develop the HOA. They're not gonna buy the house and have a box full of money that they can use for the HOA. So they have to build it up where everybody's gonna have to pay in $200, whatever it is.
No, it will be a lot more money than that. No, I'll just tell you, a lot more money than $200. It will be, the builder will be funding that HOA until a certain point of stabilization, when the entire site is stabilized. I know you brought up Pulte at the last meeting. I did a little homework, and just, you were probably aware of all these things. The Pulte bond is still not been released, because the best people to oversee a community is not you guys. It's the people who live there.
That's right.
And every meeting, they show up and they say, there's a little trail is out, this is wrong, and they're getting everything done. And Pulte is realizing, and has realized, that it's just not getting that bond released until that place is perfect. And perfect is to the opinion of the people who live there.
Correct.
So, we're gonna have the same situation here. This builder, whoever he is gonna put up a huge bond, and he's better do a better job of relationships with his buyers and owners, because Pulte did not do a good job in a relationship with people. And they brought out the worst in people, unfortunately, and they're paying the price for it, because once you destroy a relationship, it's hard to put it back. So once again, you're gonna have a builder who's gonna have a large bond up.
I thought you were the builder.
What?
I thought you were
I
the
am the
builder.
developer. We'll do the infrastructure like we did for the banks down in Mayapack recently, put all the infrastructure in. We generally do not go vertical. We're doing a job right now in Southeast for Restaurant Depot.
So, the bond is only gonna start after the development is done, right?
I
So,
want you to consider something, please. I know I do a little homework. You're a strong, opinionated chairman, and you're entitled to be. I think
I
on
don't know
this
if
one.
that's a compliment or an insult, but I'll take it.
Well, you say it the way you feel it. That's fine. I respect it. I don't think this is necessary. I think that builder who's going to be on the hook like Pulte and will get tortured and hung by his hair until everything is right. These people are going to pay good money, and those homeowners association fees are going to be way more than $200.
Again, it was just
I know, you just do a number at a conversation. I'm not holding it against you. I see
doesn't
you're-
matter.
I see you're a knowledgeable fellow, I see that.
can't judge a book by its cover. But anyway, listen, I've been thinking about it. I thought about it since the last meeting.
We're doing everything.
I think
you
it's
want
in
us
our
to.
best, I think it's in the town's and the future homeowners there's best interest for this. I've asked for a estimate for what you think it would cost the 1 year or the 5-year period to maintain that land. Rich will review it. If the number comes out extraordinary, we could work with you, but I'm not looking to, I want something on there to make sure that for the first 5 years, that area maintains pristine, clean, it doesn't erode. We have, we have what we're buying here. That's what I'm looking for. And I appreciate everything you're saying. As a builder, as a developer, I get it. As a town board member who has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, I want to make sure that this stays on the good. And that's what I want to do.
So what I'd like to say,
Hold on.
no, okay.
How many feet,
Whenever you're ready.
what piece of the trail is in this area? This one you see, exactly.
Are you referring specifically to the gravel portion of the trail that's
I'm
required?
referring to the whole
for-
areas that run through the buffer areas.
Okay,
Tell
so,
me exactly where that is so we can figure out what we're talking about.
it's we highlighted the trail in green.
Are we talking about most of the trail along the bottom? What's in the
So-
buffer?
The orange line is the buffer, right? So we're
We've got
talking,
a big piece there.
yeah, this portion of the trail is on fairways, and it is the gravel portion that's going to be improved and maintained for emergency
It's
access.
coming from here, right?
And that comes up from the cul-de-sac, right?
from the
Right,
cul-de-sac
you know,
For the ambulance,
right. And that's going to come down here, so it's able to get down to the waterfront.
to the little boathouse in T-Dock.
You got it. So it can turn around here and get back up again, right? And-
So everything on this side of the orange line is in the buffer.
Right,
Right, so
Correct.
you're looking there, you're looking down there. You also have the dock, which is gonna have to be some sort of maintained, make sure it's not falling into the little, whatever it is over there.
Homeowners Association, if they choose to take it out.
Okay, well, so then just, so I'm looking for the areas in green, in the wetland buffer. I mean, it's not the whole trail, it's a good portion of the trail.
well, and this is the part of the trail that has disturbance associated, has the gravel. So the rest of it is really just a foot trail that winds around the trees. If you're out there, you can see there's already one there.
It's an old cow path.
Yeah.
Following the old.
It's not
where they used
even
to bring the
really-
cow down to water at the lake. That's where it came from.
The rest of it's going to be ingested in the field so they don't have to take out trees to put it in, so they can minimize disturbance. It's not even it's defined by blazes, like if you were doing a trail, following a trail at like Fawnstock Park climbing up the mountain, there's blazes, you follow the blazes, there's a trail that people, except it won't get that much traffic, right? I mean, we're
This is
talking
the wood
about
chip
300,
trail, what we're planning it to be. Eventually, the homeowners association will start replacing the wood chips, because in time they rot, and they're gonna want a nice.
Wash away in a rainstorm,
Yeah,
whatever.
wash away too, especially, yes. So,
break down over time,
I,
right? But there's, yeah, and the rest, it's,
Let's, before we start,
right. This is Gateway,
trying to
it's
horse
that
trade
portion,
here.
and that's
Let's at
Fairway.
least put a number to it, so at least we know what we're talking about, and then we can evaluate and adjust it accordingly. But I want a bond.
and you want a bond from the day the last house is erected for a 5-year period, 3-year period? What are we
5-year
doing?
period.
5 years. You did say 5.
I did say 5.
10 was mentioned.
I think I mentioned 10 too. The only thing because I know the way we can play this is that, I'll evaluate the time the bond starts. It could be even when I'll talk to the town engineer how he wants to do this on this, but it could be as soon as you start occupying, at least start the bond, and if you have 3 years to fill it up, that only means you only got 2 years left, you only have 2 years left to hold it while they fill it up completely.
I understand, but this bond is gonna be, this is a $10,000 bond. This is a,
That's what I was saying before.
yes, it's not a big one, it's not 100, it's not 50. All we're repairing is wood chips and whatever else, a little bit of erosion if it happens, if we have another one of these crazy storms. That would be a super event, so to speak, but
Right.
generally speaking, would be to, if you guys came in, or someone came in and said, the trail's eroded here, we would have, say, 10 grand for someone to go in there. It's a landscaper's job. It's not a guy bringing heavy.
No, and I understand that.
I mean, he'll do more damage if you brought a backhoe down there to try to fix it. So it's a landscaper who would come down, and we'd say, have to repair.
Whatever they would, if they had to bring in wheelbarrows to do it,
So-
whatever it
Mr.
is.
Chairman,
My question is, if the town's holding the bond, are they gonna pay for the maintenance from the bond?
No, it's just that it's in the event that maintenance, it's
I
in the
understand.
event that maintenance isn't done, and we asked 2, 3, 4 times, nothing gets done, it's getting worse, and we have to fix it, we pull the bond. That's
Okay.
it. I mean,
And
it's,
you'll hire someone to go in and fix the trails, the town will.
well,
It's never gonna get to that. The homeowners
I
are
understand.
gonna have a landscaping company.
I do.
They're gonna send the landscaping company down there and say, clean up the trail, groom it, add a little, it'll probably, like you wood chip your beds. They'll say to them, okay, every spring, get down there and tune up the trail, wood chip it up, blah, blah, blah. That's what it's going to be. I just hate to put another layer of oversight, another layer of government.
we're from the government, we're here to help.
God bless you.
Listen, I'm all for streamlining, but I have lived through these a few times, and I am just looking out for the residents.
I know.
You have good intentions. I understand.
I do.
You're volunteering, which
We're volunteering, Ed? I thought we were getting paid for this.
I'm making a ton.
I'm gonna propose a $10,000 bond. We're gonna talk to Rich Franzini about it.
What we're gonna propose is we're gonna run you're gonna provide Rich with an estimate on what you feel that the cost to maintain this area is for 1 year, and then we will take that number and we'll multiply it by 5.
Okay. And that's,
So you'd only have to put up 1 year worth of bond, because if something happens, then you'll come in and say, no, fellas, you gotta replace the bond you use. It's just like a road. You put up $1 million bond, the bond stays there. You don't put a new one up, you put it there, and if you're doing what you're supposed to do, that one initial bond stays in place.
Correct.
There is an insurance policy
Right.
for bad behavior.
okay, so it's a bond for 1 year's worth of maintenance
it's
costs
gonna
that's
be-
held for 5 years?
Again, it's gonna be a 5-year bond on the work to be determined by the town engineer. How's that?
Fine.
Okay,
We'll go to Mr. Frank, we'll propose something to Mr. Franzini, he'll review it. We gotta tell him what these trails are gonna be made of, right, wood chips, blah, blah, and he'll put a number on it. That if the shit hit the fan, there's enough money to fix it, okay?
Correct. Perfect. Thank you.
Brilliant.
okay.
We've
So-
done everything else you've asked, by the way. I mean, we haven't said no yet, now, obviously you don't get past board by saying no very often.
Yeah, right.
No, and we work with everybody.
Okay, well, could we get, what is it called?
Yeah, we're hoping that you can make this a condition and we can get our application deemed complete so that we can move forward to the public comment period.
You want us to accept the application?
Yes, thank you. Accept
so
the
that they
application.
can go and have the public the hearing for the next 45 days, or whatever it is.
Yes,
That's what you're looking for.
that's what we're looking for.
But whatever we discussed tonight will not be a condition of the public opening.
Okay.
It will be a condition of the permit when it's issued. Okay? It will be
Okay.
on, it'll be on the permit.
It'll be on the permit, right,
Yeah,
but
you'll
we'll,
have
right,
conditions. That
Right.
you'll have to have the wetland inspector, once all the erosion controls up, come out and look at it, standard stuff.
No problem. We don't have the permit, where it should be,
Exactly.
right.
okay? And one other thing.
Well, that's also required as part of the SWIP,
No, right, but
right.
it's part of the permit.
See, I've done
Of course.
great today. I came to the first meeting in 10 years, got nothing.
You're batting 1,000.
I had a
No,
big
no.
Primavera,
Paul,
okay, brought it back to my
if they
office.
accept your application, you did good.
One last thing, you have these signs on a number of my properties, like at Banks and Clark Park. I've seen a lot of.
Wetland signs.
Right, the town provided wetland signs.
These guys who are doing this, whoever does the signs, I don't remember who does them, they're on 4x4s, right? 4x4 with a cut top and a little emblem on the top that says.
You guys
Four
do
by
it.
four, you said
Yeah.
four by four?
Someone better change the town did it at Kamada Park, and the adhesive is not sticky, so over the years.
They
all the
fall
holes
off.
are there, but the little insignias are no longer around, so I bring that to you.
I'll let Rich and the town, I'll let the town wetlands inspector know about it.
Okay, yeah, you need to use a better, different.
Silicone works wonders.
So,
All right, so then, do I have a motion? You have any questions?
No.
Do you?
No questions.
Then do I have a motion to accept the application of GNF Subdivision Gateway and the Fairways, 2054 Route 6 Carmel, to accept the application as submitted with the changes noted in the letter dated August 27th with the response to the questions. Do I have a motion?
We'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you'll be advertised.
Okay, great, thank you.
thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Have a good night.
Okay, next order of business is meeting minutes. We want to approve,
One last thing, thanks for coming in and doing this meeting. I realize this meeting could have been canceled when we have just us on the board.
that makes them go faster when there's only one.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I wasn't here the last,
No, you weren't.
8/5, I wasn't here the last one, but I was here 8/5. So do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for August 5th, 2021? We can all vote.
I make that motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Okay, with that, we have no other agenda items. Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
All in
it.
favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Good night.